Celery juice, I love you so much. Biologique recherche, I don't know, how do you say it? Hey guys, welcome to an all new HBFIT TV episode. In today's episode, I am going to be answering some questions that you guys have asked me on Instagram, which you guys asked some really tough questions, so I'm a little nervous. And our team here has kind of like gone through and put together the best of the questions. I haven't really filtered them, so I don't know if they're like inappropriate or they're like intense or TMI or whatever. I'm just gonna go for it. How do you stay fit and thick? I struggle to balance working out and excess weight loss. Okay, humble brag, but I will say that I've never really experienced excess weight loss when working out. And in fact, I really have worked out my entire life to feel good about myself. And it hasn't really been about maintaining or creating a certain ideal or body type for myself. I talk a lot about this in my book, Do What Feels Good, because honestly, working out for me, and I've spoken about this before, is so much about mental clarity and making sure that I feel strong and empowered by my body and what I'm able to push myself to do. So yeah, you can read more about it in Do What Feels Good. What is your current diet like? Plant-based, keto? So right now my current diet is, I live in hotels and so I'm eating out all the time. I'm trying to be very clean. It's funny, I feel like I've been traveling so much and I haven't been like on top of my eating habit games. In fact, my husband and I were both saying the other day that we like are trying not to eat bread. So we're trying to hold each other accountable and like we make each other do certain tasks if we are eating bread, which is a really nice way to get your loved one on board with your eating habits, because I find that when your partner is seeing eye to eye in the way that you want to kind of challenge yourself, it makes you guys kind of do it together, which is for me a lot easier. So right now I'm not eating one specific way. I'm trying to eat consciously and mindfully. So trying to make sure that I have my protein, my healthy fats, lots of vegetables. I try to stay away from like really starchy, carby food, only because right now I'm not getting myself to the gym every day. And I also I haven't really talked about food combining, but I do think about that a lot when I eat. So the basic principles of food combining are that you eat protein with vegetables and or you eat carbs with vegetables, but you're not supposed to eat carbs and protein together. So for me, that's a great way to kind of hold myself in some sort of standard, because I do find that I get bloated easily, especially with all the travel. So if I can kind of stick to those loose principles of food combining, I find that I feel pretty good even though I'm on the road constantly. Someone said, can't wait for your book. Will it be out by Christmas? So yes, it will be out. Well, it'll be out right after Christmas. The launch date is January 8th, but it's on pre-order right now. And it would make for a great Christmas present for your bestie or friend or cousin or sister. And you can pre-order the book. The link is in my bio. I will also link it in this video. And you can even get a gift, certificate for someone, so you can gift the book. So it will make a great stocking stuffer or Christmas gift. Next, can you share your experience with celery juice? Celery juice, I love you so much. So honestly, I started drinking celery juice at the end of the summer. It was right after I kind of came back from a lot of summer travel and I wanted to kind of do something that I felt was going to cleanse my system. I had been hearing so much about celery juice, specifically from Medical Medium. If you don't follow Medical Medium, it's really interesting. Instagram, he's a blog, he's an author. I just follow him on Instagram and I also have some of his books, but he basically lives by celery juice being a major superfood, super detoxifying, really good to detoxify the liver. It helps with inflammation, it helps with clear skin, it helps with hormone balance. So the whole premise of drinking celery juice is that you drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach to reap all the benefits. And I have to say, it helps with digestion. It's definitely helped clear up my skin. So in the beginning, when I first started drinking it, and I drank it for 10 days straight, I didn't realize that you should kind of start small and build your way up with the amount that you're drinking. So I kind of started drinking like 16 ounces, and you're also supposed to like drink it slowly, and I was like guzzling it down. And I did see in the first 3 days that I kind of did have a breakout and that a lot of stuff was coming out of my skin. But to me, that means that I'm detoxing. So I was like, okay, whatever, we'll get past it. And I did get past it. So I kept it going. And by day like 8 or even 7, 8, my skin was glowing. I was like, my bowels were regular. My stomach felt flatter. I had more energy. I didn't feel the need to drink coffee. And generally, it's been something now that I have carried with me since those first days of doing it. I try to do it every day. I travel so much that it's not really possible. But any day that I am in the city, I definitely wake up early to make sure that I'm giving myself that time in the morning to go get myself a celery juice if I'm not making it myself, because I really do believe in its powers. Okay, would you ever do a community workout class so we can join you at a studio and meet you? Absolutely, and I've done them in the past, and I am working very hard to do one around the book launch. So I highly suggest pre-ordering my books so that you are eligible to participate in these book events that I will be putting together. I did one in the past with Elaine Welteroth. We raised money for Planned Parenthood, and we had so much fun doing it. And even at HBFIT, we try to do one like once a quarter, but because my schedule is a bit unpredictable, it's kind of hard to nail down dates. But because the book is obviously such a milestone for me, we're really making it a priority. So I hope you will stay tuned to know all the things that are happening around the book, because this will be one of them. How do you eat well with all the travel? I'm always snacking in airports. Okay, so snacking in airports is like my number one thing. I'm like a queen at snacking. I travel with all of these crazy snacks. I'm always snacking in airports, so I can relate. But eating clean while traveling is definitely difficult, but it's not impossible. So I bring food with me from places that I really, think are clean and good. Sometimes I'll bring a salad with me. Sometimes I will have a big, clean lunch before I get on a plane, so that way I'm not even hungry or tempted to eat a whole thing of nuts while I'm on the plane, which I feel like just like sit in your system. I try to avoid eating while on airplanes because I just find that the elevation puts pressure on your bowels and like ultimately ends up like bloating me beyond belief. And then when I get to a city, I really kind of just like do a little due diligence, do a little research, figure out where there are some clean juice bars, where there are some restaurants with great options on the menu. I think it's at this point, the world is really moving towards, organic and healthy food. I think, there's so many options out there. It's just how can you access them? And for me, I do the research. I don't even if I'm staying at a nice hotel, if the menu has steak and burgers and pizza on the menu, I will go out or I will Postmate something, just so that I can kind of stay true to myself, just because I don't feel good after eating a giant steak. I don't feel good eating after I eat pizza. So I'm always kind of looking for a healthy option, which then leads to, curiosity and searching Google and Postmates and all those things. So it's not impossible. Like I said, you can do it. It takes some time and some research. how did you start your fit lifestyle and how long did it take you to reach your goals? So I've kind of always lived a fit lifestyle, I guess, because I grew up as a ballerina when I was young. And in a lot of ways that actually kind of created like a kind of a false reality of what women should look like and those kind of stereotypical body image issues that adolescent girls deal with. I felt like all of that was very heightened in the ballet world. Again, this is something I talk about in my book a lot. But kind of when I went into high school, I played sports. When I went into college, I continued playing sports, and I also started dancing just for my love of dance. So I didn't do ballet anymore. I started doing modern dance and African dance. And then when I left college, I was DJing a lot, and I was DJing nightclubs, and I was kind of losing track of my daytime hours. And I woke up one day feeling really burnt out. And I kind of had to make a huge lifestyle change to get back to the fit lifestyle that I had always kind of been used to, and that made me like feel really good. So again, it took a lot of commitment to kind of restructure my life and like my job and my income so that I could kind of switch things around to ultimately feel better about myself, because that was something that I had always cherished and made me feel so good that I kind of let fall to the sideline when trying to pursue my DJ career in the beginning. So it's been a long journey, but you know, I think in terms of like reaching my goals, my goals are always changing. I'm always trying to push myself. I actually try not to put too much pressure on myself to be a certain way, but rather try new things. And a lot of the goals I have aren't really about like reaching a certain size or something like that. It's more about strength for me. So let's say, you know, right now I can only do 10 push-ups. Like I would love to get to 20 push-ups, and that just takes practice and building strength and kind of commitment to practicing. So it all depends, I guess, on what your goals are, but those are mine. How have you gotten past the mindset of workout to burn calories and instead to feel good? Okay, so I actually have never been a workout person to burn calories. I've never really been obsessed with the number on the scale. For me, it's always been about getting a good workout and feeling sore the next day, getting stronger, wanting to kind of be the best version of myself. And it's never really been about burning calories, the number on the scale, fitting into a certain size. For me, I think as long as I feel good in the skin I'm in, then I feel good about my exercise and what I'm up to. Really, like my entire fitness journey and feeling good about myself and feeling good in my body is kind of the premise of what I talk about in my book, Do What Feels Good. So there's a lot more on this subject in the book, but it takes time to feel comfortable with yourself, and it's definitely a journey. What role can exercise/fitness apps play in a person's fitness routine? Fitness apps are so great. You know, I think that everyone's routine and everyone's lifestyle is different. If you work a corporate job and you struggle at getting yourself to the gym at 6 a.m. before you have to be at work, apps can be a great thing for you to just be able to open up, do something in your living room or in your bedroom, whatever, getting it in before or after work. Having these tools at your fingertips, I think, allow you to really say that there aren't any excuses. Having the convenience and these tools at your fingertips, I think, just really allows you to hold yourself accountable and say that, like, you know, you just have to make the time, right? Like if you don't have time to get to the gym, okay, great. Give yourself a half hour on either end of your day or in the middle of your day and open up your app. And there's everything from the Sweat app by Kayla Itzinez. There's also my fitness planner. There's my trainer Kira Stokes is putting out an app. There's so many things out there that can help you get a workout in at any point in the day. I think it's just about creating the time for yourself. Okay, tips for working out and eating well when you're in a rut or having a bad time with mental health. Okay, so there's nothing worse than like wanting to do something when you're not in the mood to do it. And I think that it's really important to try and hold yourself accountable with other friends, especially when you're kind of in a rut or you're having, struggles with mental health. Like getting yourself up and out of the house can sometimes feel like the most daunting of tasks. But ultimately, you're gonna feel better when you leave the gym or leave a workout or leave a meditation. It's really easy that when you're in a rut or you're not feeling good about yourself to make unhealthy decisions. And unfortunately, unhealthy decisions are so easy to make. And I feel like when you start to make them, they kind of pile up one on top of the other. And it almost becomes even harder to break because now you feel like you're almost spiraling out of control. But I think that it does take a little bit of discipline. I think you should reach out and talk to your community about how you're feeling, because ultimately there's probably someone else that's going through what you're feeling. And if you have a friend who kind of always inspires you, maybe reach out to them and say, hey, I've been feeling really down and I just need to sweat it out and get some clarity about the situation I'm in or how to get out of it. And I think so talking to your friends and making plans with friends is a great way of kind of getting out of a funk and getting out of a rut. Okay, so that's kind of all for workout and eating. We're moving into questions about Brenden and family stuff. So again, I haven't filtered these questions, so I'm just going for it here. Do you and Brenden ever argue or get on each other's nerves? You two seem to have the most perfect relationship. Okay, well, there is no such thing as perfect. What you're seeing is definitely our good side. We're not in the middle of an argument. We're not recording ourselves yelling at each other. But we definitely have moments where we don't see eye to eye. We are both Scorpios. We're very passionate. And we definitely speak very openly with each other. So there are things that we don't necessarily see eye to eye on, but I will say that we always talk to each other with respect. And we are always the couple to talk it out. We might be talking loudly, not considering yelling, but we talk loudly and assertively to each other. And then we work through it, kiss and make up, and we don't talk about it again. Because honestly, we don't really hold grudges. The worst thing that I've experienced in past relationships is not speaking my truth at the moment of feeling like I need to do that. And so with Brenden and I, we actually are the complete opposite of those past behaviors that I was used to in old relationships, where actually we speak to each other in the moment when we're feeling like we're not being heard or we have a different opinion. We get it out right then and there, and then we're able to move on. So we definitely do, have normal arguments like regular people, and you just don't see them on Instagram. Why did you honestly sell your apartment and decide it was better for you to live in hotels? I feel like this is $1 million question. So we bought our apartment, we renovated it, and we wanted to sell it because it was a 1-bedroom apartment that had 3 floors. And ultimately, we do want to have a family, and we didn't think that apartment was conducive for that. But we also know that our next apartment that we get, we really want to renovate it because we had so much fun doing our last one. And renovations take time. They take almost, from purchase to permits to renovations, it's almost like a 2-year, maybe plus project. So we just wanted to get ahead of it, especially also because we anticipated that the market was going to go down, which I have to say the market is down almost 15% since when we sold it. So it was a great time for us to sell. And that's why we sold it. We honestly, we loved our apartment. It was so beautiful. But it wasn't really right for where we're planning to go for our lives and our family, future family. Okay, so someone said, I mean shade, but no shade. Can you and Brenden wear your seatbelts more often? We love you too much. That's so cute. Yes, we can. And Brendan's always telling me to wear my seatbelt, so he wears it way more than I do. And I know I need to wear my seatbelt more, but as a New Yorker who thinks she's invincible, I sometimes forget to wear my seatbelt, so I will do that, I promise. How did you meet your husband? How did you know he was the one? So Brenden and I met in Miami. Actually, our 7-year anniversary is coming up December 1st. We literally met in a nightclub in Miami, and I have to say, I knew Brenden was the one immediately, and he did not think I was the one. But a little bit of reverse psychology worked in my favor. Brenden was kind of known to be a man about town in those days, and I had recently just gotten out of a relationship, and I think I was really nervous to start seeing someone and to be intimate with someone after coming out of a very intense relationship. And he was very used to getting what he wanted and being intimate with someone, so I kind of played hard to get, which ultimately made him a little more crazy about me than I think he anticipated. And that's kind of how it all started. Okay, so that concludes the Brenden family portion of the questions. Now we're going into recommendations. Okay, what is your favorite beauty spa in New York for facials, manicures, and pedicures? Okay, this is very difficult. I feel like I'm a walking Rolodex for spas in New York City. For facials, there are so many places I love. There's a place called Noy, N-O-Y, that is a mother-daughter duo. They're both Israeli. The mother does acupuncture and the daughter does facials. There's a woman named Ildi Picard in New York. She does CBD facials. She's amazing. Shimera, otherwise known as SB Skin, does amazing microcurrent facials in New York. So that's all about lifting. There's a place called Tracy Martin who does red carpet facials. Very expensive, but totally worth it. And then there's actually 2 places that I love going for kind of quick facials that I think do an amazing job and have incredible products. One is called Heyday. They use all organic products, and they kind of have created this fast casual facial spa in New York, which I think is awesome. There's also a place called Silver Mirror Facial, which are affordable facials, and they kind of focus on kind of more scientific chemical peels, but they know what they're doing. They study your skin before they do anything. So they're very informed. And then for manicures and pedicures, I mean, there's a place called Eye Plaza that I love going to for pedicures because they give insane neck massages while you get a pedicure, and I'm a sucker for that. For manicures, you guys know me, I'm obsessed with nail art, so the places I go are kind of very much around the Japanese culture of nail art. So there's a place called Marie Nails, there's a place called Sakura, there's a place called Valley. But I think more and more people are starting to do nail art. Again, I'm also kind of biased because I work with a nail artist that I've been working with for 6 years. Her name is May, and I've only gotten my nails not done by her 3 or 4 times in the last 6 years. So I'm a little out of the manicure world, but I know that those places do a great job. Okay, best products for dark spots for women of color. So this is a great one. I feel like I suffer from hyperpigmentation, and it's so hard not to pick my skin. Especially because I feel like my skin gets clogged really easily with all the flying, all the makeup. And you think you're getting a deep cleanse and you try not to over exfoliate, so whatever. But dark spots, there's a product actually from Murad that is a advanced repair for dark spots, and I think it's like their color yellow, which is all about their like vitamin C line. So that's a really good one. Also, this is like a crazy product that no one knows about, and it's my secret weapon. It literally helps with dark spots, but it also helps with scarring, and I used it religiously after I got into my accident on my bike, and I had a scar down my lip, and it's made it so small. It's called ASAP gel, ASAP gel, and it's a silver probiotic gel that you get off Amazon. It's the most random brand, has random branding, but I swear it works wonders. Another product I love for dark spots is the universal pads, acid pads from Dr. Dennis Gross. So they are they have a step 1 and step 2 that you'd use in the morning or at night. I usually do it at night, but you do it every day, and I swear I saw such a big difference. So it's kind of like a mini acid peel every day, and they're great. Like I think they're so good, and I think Dr. Dennis Gross is actually like such, it's very universal for women of all colors, and I saw great results with my skin. Another product I love for hyperpigmentation and reducing dark spots is from a brand called Biologique Refuge. Biologique Refuge. I don't know how you say it, but it's the P50 pigment. So it's P50 PIGM. I think it's a PIGM 400. It really helps lift dark spots. And so kind of all of these treatments are basically using like some sort of acid or something like that to kind of help peel away the top layers of your skin. So also exfoliation does help with that, but I find that a lot of exfoliation can sometimes be too harsh on my skin. And with the variable weather and everything, sometimes that's like not what my skin needs, but my skin really does react well to like light acid. All right, so cute juice coffee spots in New York. Okay, I'm just gonna list them out. Banter, Cafe Integral, Butcher's Daughter, Juice Generation, Juice Press, Mud Coffee, Bluestone Lane, Heel House. Okay, that's 8. That's pretty good. What are your absolute go-tos for skincare if you could only choose a few products? Okay, so I think my absolute things, this is like the hardest question in the world, but I think my absolute things would be my cleanser from Lene Skincare, my toner from Biologique Refuge, my serum from Marie Veronique, I have another serum that I love from Dr. Barbara Sturm, and then my blood cream from Dr. Barbara Sturm. Those are kind of like my go-to. But again, this is the hardest question ever because my skin's always changing and I always need to change up my products to kind of figure out what, to complement what's going on with my skin at that time. So that's just like what I would answer for right now. What are your favorite brands of jeans for girls with a booty? Okay, I would have to say Good American. Khloe Kardashian's brand. She's got the booty of all booties, and her jeans definitely fit every shape and size. And I have to say, I think that the quality is really good and they don't look cheap or anything. I think they look great, and they really do accentuate what you've got going on. Okay, so that's like the end of the recommendations. Now we're moving into just life questions. My favorite TV show growing up was a mix between Moesha and Pepper Ann. I don't even know if people even know what Pepper Ann was, but it was such a fun little cartoon that I watched on Saturday mornings. I don't know, I just really related to redheads when I was growing up. What did I study in school? I'm assuming that means college, and I was a fine art major who studied sculpture specifically. And no, I don't do sculpture anymore, but I do imagine myself one day when I'm older going back to it. How was growing up in an interracial family? My boyfriend is Italian and I'm African and I'm pregnant. Congratulations. Growing up in an interracial family was awesome, but it definitely had its challenges. My parents, when they got together and wanted to get married, they were not accepted by their respective families, and they actually eloped in New Orleans. Their love for each other and their compassion for each other very much showed me that I can date or be with anyone I want to be with, because ultimately love conquers all. But I will say that growing up in an interracial family in the early 90s, you know, a lot of kids didn't necessarily like look like me, and my mom was always very conscious about making sure that I knew at the core who I was, where I came from, what I stood for, and as long as I held those things true to myself, that I would be, you know, I would flourish just like anyone else. Does race affect any part of your life, especially being a well-known DJ, blogger, and model? Of course, race affects my life. Like so many other women of color in this world, you know, I think we deal with so much. I think women in general deal with so much, but women of color, you know, definitely have a lot of adversity to overcome in this world. And sometimes I feel like you know, as it specifically relates to my career, I definitely feel like sometimes I didn't get a job because of the way I look, or they went with someone else because they fit the mold of what they're looking for in a better way. But I will say that like all of those times where I felt like I wasn't right for a brand, or that I missed out on a job opportunity because I didn't look a certain way, I feel like those are the times that really kind of challenged me to really say to myself, well, I don't necessarily need that brand or need that job. And if they can't recognize that I have something to offer, then they're the ones with the blinders on, and that's not really my problem. But you know, that mentality is something that is learned, and it takes time to feel okay about that. And yeah, I mean, you know, I think we all understand that, like, you know, race is something that we all have to deal with in different ways, whether it's blatant or it's like minor, and it's someone said something in passing, or someone told a joke that made you feel uncomfortable. You know, I think it's really important to just be upfront about your feelings and say in the moment, like, hey, like, you can't say that, or like, hey, that like hurt my feelings, or you know, sometimes people don't say anything at all to that person, and then they talk about it over dinner with their friends, and maybe that's what you need to make yourself feel better. But ultimately, there are a lot of people in this world who aren't going to accept you, and as long as you accept yourself, I think, you know, you're winning. So you kind of just have to like always kind of be the bigger person and have thick skin. Okay, how do I embrace my Jewish identity? So I was raised Jewish. My mom converted to Judaism before I was born. She's now a Buddhist, but I was bat mitzvahed, and I definitely still carry on the traditions of Judaism in my own life. I don't necessarily go to temple all the time or keep Shabbat, and I'm not kosher, but there are a lot of traditions that I do cherish, and genuinely, like, I want to continue some of these traditions with my own family. I identify with being Jewish. My family were Jews from Russia and Germany, and you know, I had my grandfather did a lot to work in getting Holocaust survivors recognition and a lot of money back to them whose art was stolen during the Holocaust. And my grandfather's efforts definitely affected me a lot in terms of my identity with Jewish culture. How did I become a DJ, and how did you land the fashion event gigs? Okay, so I started DJing in college with a friend of mine. We were DJing every Thursday night at the one bar that was like in our town. And when I would come home for the summers, I would DJ nightclubs. And then when I graduated college, I came home, I was DJing clubs now like almost 4 times a week. And I got really burnt out. And it was a lot on my system. And one day I got a call from a friend who said, hey, I would love for you to DJ Fashion Night Out, which was this thing that Vogue magazine put on. And then I think this was in 2011, where I DJ'd Dolce & Gabbana's Fashion Night Out with DJ Ruckus and Justin Bieber. And I remember when I didn't even know Bieber was going to be performing. And then when Bieber came out, I was like, oh my God, like this is definitely something I should be getting paid for. I was not getting paid for at the time. But it made me realize that there was a whole world of event opportunities that I could easily tap into, especially considering Dolce & Gabbana wanted me to wear their clothes and whatever. So I kind of realized that I could be a marketer for these brands while also getting paid to do something that other people couldn't do, which was DJing. So I kind of just started to like put myself in positions where I would go for coffee with marketing people who were working with brands and say like, hey, like next time you have an event, it would be great if you could keep me top of mind. Or sometimes other people from other brands, or sometimes people from other brands would be at these events and say, oh, she's a good DJ, like we should have her DJ our event. So that's kind of how I got into the world of event DJing. Last but not least, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Family, company, mentally. In 5 years, hopefully we're in a home that's ours, that we've renovated and built together. Career-wise, I see myself, I'm launching a consumer product brand in March this year, and I have very high hopes for the company. And I hope that in 5 years, we're working towards being a vertical business. And a sustainable one at that. Mentally, I hope that I'm still being challenged every day by this ever-changing landscape of marketing and consumer products and transparency and sustainability and accountability, and just, creating more engaging content. I hope in 5 years, I am a mom, and that'll be a whole new journey, as well as a different career change and lane to embark on. And, I can only imagine that in 5 years, I'll have a lot more wisdom than I already have now. So that concludes this episode of, I guess, Ask Me Anything. And it was really fun. I really appreciate everyone's questions. They were very compelling and very true and raw. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to ask me that. So I hope you guys got something out of this. And until next time, please subscribe to more HBFIT TV. Leave me comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know what you guys kind of thought of my answers. I'll try and link all the products that I talked about in this episode down below. So just take a peep and check it out.